Welcome back, folks. In this video, I want to show you a second practice set in which we're going to be answering the yes, no, not given question type. So this example comes from Cambridge IELTS book number 9, test number 2, and reading passage number 3. So since this is reading passage number 3, I want you to expect this question set to be a little bit trickier. And we're going to be answering these questions, and you'll see an example of what a tricky question set looks like and how to answer it. So let's scroll right down to our questions here. And right away, we can see that this is not a true-false not given question type, but rather a yes-no not given question type. So the principles are still the same. We're going to be answering these questions in exactly the same way. So let's begin. We're going to start off by first marking our keywords. So let's go ahead and do that. So here we have exposure, different events, something about forcing the brain to think differently. So those are the keywords for number 32. One thing that I want to do is I do want to scroll up and make sure that I know the title so that I know which keywords are going to be useful for me and which ones are not going to be useful. So the title is A Neuroscientist Reveals How to Think Differently. Alright, so this is going to be about brains and thinking differently. So we are probably not going to find these two keywords very helpful because they're going to be appearing throughout the reading passage. So let's go ahead and remove these for now, and let's just keep these ones. But we will come back to these keywords when we find these other keywords in the reading passage. So I do want you to still have these keywords in the back of your mind. We are going to be looking for these keywords when we have already found these other keywords. Let's move on. Number 33, iconoclasts, unusually receptive, new experiences. Something here about most people. So take note of this word, most. This is one of the extreme words that we were talking about. So pay attention to this word, most. Okay, so for this answer to be true, we have to be talking about most people. Not some people, not a few people, but most people. Not all people either. We are looking for a very specific amount of people, most people. Alright, moving on. Too shy. Too shy for what? To try different things. Great. So those are our keywords there for number 34. Number 35, we have iconoclastic and overcoming fear. Something about overcoming fear. For number 36, we have the keywords concern about embarrassment, fears, and fears becoming irrelevant. Finally, fear of public speaking and psychological illness. Alright, so we've got some good keywords here. The ones that I think are going to be especially easy to find are this one over here, number 33, because it has the word iconoclastic. That's going to be easy to find. Other than this should also be easy to find. Public speaking, that should be an easy keyword to find. So let's start there, and then we'll figure out our answers to these remaining questions. So right now, we are looking for iconoclasts and these keywords related to iconoclasts, unusually receptive to new experiences. Go ahead and read this. It says iconoclasts are unusually receptive to new experiences. They are very receptive to new experiences. So let's go ahead and look for iconoclasts. Let's start scanning. Okay, right away I see there is the word iconoclastic here. Again over here. Here as well. Just want to see if there's any other place that we can find iconoclastic. Another thing that we are looking for is unusually receptive. Okay, unusually receptive. So actually, I do see something over here about being receptive. It says that iconoclast is a person who does something that others say can't be done. So they do things that other people say cannot be done. I'm not sure if this is my answer just yet. I do want to keep reading. I might find my answer somewhere else. So I do want to keep reading or scanning. Right now I'm scanning for unusually receptive or synonyms for this keyword. There's some more stuff here about iconoclasm and iconoclasts. More stuff here about iconoclasts. And right now, pay attention to this part. It says that they're unusually receptive to new experiences. So we're looking for something that shows to us that iconoclasts are into new stuff, fresh, novel. The thing about this up here is I don't think that our answer is over here. The reason is that it says that iconoclast is a person who does something that others say can't be done. So here we are talking about a definition. It doesn't necessarily say that iconoclasts love doing new things. So we are looking for new things, new experiences, new experiences. Over here, it says nothing about new experiences. It just says that they like to do things that other people say can't be done. But what about new experiences? I haven't found anything about that just yet, that they are receptive to new experiences. So that's why I'm still continuing looking for these keywords, iconoclasts, new experiences, and so on. So we are still scanning. Okay, there's something about experience here, but they're talking about being influenced by past experiences. We are looking for new experiences, not past experiences. Check that out. Right here, we have a synonym for new experiences. Something that you have never encountered before, something that you have never seen before, never experienced before. That is a synonym language for new experiences. So guys, always be on the lookout for these synonyms. Remember, I told you that most of the times you are not going to find an answer when you find an exact keyword. So the answer is not going to be around the exact keyword. So if you're looking for the keyword new experiences, if you're looking for that keyword, it's very, very likely that you are not going to find that keyword in the reading passage. And if you do, it might not be the right answer. A lot of times it will not be the right answer. So most of the times you will have to look for synonyms of those keywords. You are not going to find the exact keywords. That's a very important point. So here we found something about new experiences, and here it's talking about iconoclasts, more stuff about iconoclasts, novelty. It says they embrace novelty, so that means that they are receptive to new experiences. Remember, this was another one of our keywords. Iconoclasts are unusually receptive to new experiences. So just now, we found a synonym for new experiences, and we have also found a synonym for unusually receptive. The synonym for unusually receptive is that they love to embrace novelty. They love to try out new things. They love to welcome new things, fresh things, things that they have never experienced before. So this is where we're going to find our answer. So let's go ahead and start reading this sentence right here. So let's go ahead and start reading this sentence right here. I have a feeling that we're going to find our answer over here, because this is where it starts to talk about iconoclasts and novelty and embracing novelty and new experiences. There's all kinds of keywords here, so I'm pretty sure that we're going to find it somewhere around here. So let's go ahead and read it. Successful iconoclasts have an extraordinary willingness to be exposed to what is fresh and different. Check that out. They have an extraordinary willingness. That is also synonym language for unusually receptive. They have an extraordinary willingness. Willingness to what? Willingness for what? To embrace novelty. So those are synonyms for being very receptive to new experiences. Let's keep reading. So they have an extraordinary willingness to be exposed to what is fresh and different, new. Okay? Novelty. Things that they have not experienced before, things that they have never encountered before. Fresh and different. Another use of synonym language. Let's keep reading on just to make sure that we haven't missed anything. Observation of iconoclasts shows that they embrace novelty while most people avoid things that are different. Okay. So what do you think the answer to this is going to be? What you have to do right now is you have to match the sentence in the question and the sentence that we just found, the matching sentence. You have to match these two and see if the information agrees with each other, disagrees with each other, or is it simply not given. So here it says iconoclasts are unusually receptive to new experiences. What do you think it's going to be? The correct answer is true. Or I should not say true, but rather yes. This is a yes, no, not given question. So the correct answer is yes. So let's scroll up and let's put a number next to where we found answer number 33. Great. So now that we've found the answer to number 33, let's move on to our next easy question. Here, we're going to be looking for fear of public speaking and something about psychological illness. So it has to come after this point. So let's begin scanning from after this point. We are looking for fear of public speaking. I see something about fear here, but I'm not going to mark this keyword because I'm looking for a very specific type of fear. Okay, here it talks about fear of public ridicule, uncertainty. We don't care about that. There we go. Public speaking, that's what we care about. We are looking for fear of public speaking. Okay, there we go. It says mental disorder. What is that a synonym for? Mental disorder. That is a synonym for psychological illness. Get it? So you have to be on the lookout for these types of synonym language. So let's go up here and let's first underline this part because this is going to be our matching sentence. I'm pretty sure we're going to find our answer here since it talks about two of our keywords. Up until here, up until where it talks about mental disorder. Okay, here we go. But fear of public speaking, which everyone must do from time to time, afflicts 1/3 of the population. This makes it too common to be considered a mental illness, to be considered a mental disorder. So what do you think, guys? Does the information in this matching sentence match the information in this question? The question sentence says, fear of public speaking is a psychological illness. It is saying that fear of public speaking is a mental disorder. Is it a mental disorder? Does the reading passage say that? It says that this makes it too common to be considered a mental disorder. So is it a mental disorder or is it not? The correct answer is no. It is not a mental disorder. Why? It says mental disorder here, then why is it not a mental disorder? Well, the reason is that it says here that this fear of public speaking is so common. So many people experience it, 1/3 of the population. So many people experience it that we cannot really call it a mental disorder. It's too common. It's too common to be called a mental disorder. If it was rare, if only a very small population experienced this, then we might be able to call it a mental disorder. But right now we cannot because there are too many people experiencing this. So it's too common for us to call it a mental disorder. Get it? So that's why the answer to this is no. Number 37. The question sentence does not match up with the matching sentence. So that is going to be a no. We're going to scroll up and we're going to put number 37 next to where we have found our answer. 37. Isn't that great, guys? Check that out. So now that we have answered question number 33 and number 37, it's going to be super duper easy for us to find the answers to all other questions. Why? Because these questions, they go in order. So I know that for my questions number 34, 35, 36, I'm going to find all those answers right in here. So I don't even have to scan the whole reading passage anymore. I just have to scan this little portion right here. That's fantastic. So let's go ahead and let's start with these ones. The ones that we're going to find the answers for in between number 33 and 37. Let's do these ones first, and then at the end, we can come back to number 32. Okay, so here it says most people are too shy to try different things. So let's see if we can find that. Too shy to try different things. Actually, I did see something about that here. I remember reading something about that when I was answering number 33. Here it says, it talks about most people. It's talking about most people avoid things that are different. Most people avoid things that are different. Avoid. Okay, so let's read this part. Here it says, most people avoid things that are different. And down here, it says, most people are too shy to try different things. Now, what do you think the answer for this question is going to be? Do you think that the information in this question sentence and here in the matching sentence, do they match up? Do these match up? It says most people avoid things that are different. Here, it says most people are too shy to try different things. Now, guys, I must warn you, this really is a very tricky question. And it's a dirty trick that they're trying to play on you. Because the actual answer to this question is that it is not given. You might think that the answer is yes. You might think that it's saying pretty much the same thing. I mean, it's saying most people are too shy to try different things. And over here it's saying that most people avoid things that are different. That sounds to me like synonym language for saying exactly the same thing. But they're trying to trick you here. Because you have to pay attention to a key word. Here it says that most people avoid things that are different. So we know that most people avoid things, right? They avoid them. But over here is giving us the reason why they avoid them. Here is giving us the reason. It's saying that most people are too shy to try different things. Guys, we simply don't know if most people are too shy to try different things. Maybe they don't want to try new things because they just don't like it. Maybe it has nothing to do with feeling shy. Maybe it has nothing to do with being nervous. Maybe they just don't like it. Right? So we don't know the reason why people don't like to try different things. We don't know that. So that's why the answer to this is not given. Very tricky question, that one. So we've answered number 34. Now let's move on to number 35. Here it says, if you think in an iconoclastic way, you can easily overcome fear. Alright, well, let's see if that's true. So just to remind you, we are looking for these keywords, iconoclastic and overcome fear. So it's saying that by thinking in an iconoclastic way, you can overcome fear. So let's see if it says something about that. So here it says, okay, it's talking about fear, it's talking about more fear, it's talking about iconoclasts. So guys, it makes sense to just start reading this part. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read these two sentences right here. It seems like these two sentences are going to be where we might find the answer. It's talking a lot about our keywords right here. So here we go, let's start reading it. The problem with novelty, however, is that it tends to trigger the brain's fear system. Fear is a major impediment to thinking like an iconoclast, and it stops the average person in his tracks. Okay, so we know that iconoclasts. Okay, so we know that if you have fear, if fear is stopping you, then you cannot really think like an iconoclast. So when you feel fear, you stop thinking like an iconoclast, or it becomes difficult to think like an iconoclast. That's what it's saying so far. Let's read on. It says there are many types of fear, but the two that inhibit iconoclastic thinking and people generally find difficult to deal with are fear of uncertainty and fear of public ridicule. So I don't see this information here. So I think that the answer to this question might be not given, because I simply do not see anything here mentioning the fact that if you think in an iconoclastic way, then you can easily overcome fear. So it might be not given, but actually another thing that they've done to make this really tricky, and this is something that almost never happens. It almost never happens. But over here, I noticed that they talked about iconoclasts. And here they're talking about the reaction to fear and about inhibiting the reactions. So down here, they've been talking about how you can overcome fear. So it seems to be related to talking about fear, inhibition of fear, or in other words, overcoming fear or working around it in some way. It seems to be related. So if we go ahead and read this sentence, let's go ahead and do that now. It says, it is simply a common variant. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about the fear of public speaking. So they're saying that iconoclasts may feel fear, but they still continue to do the things that they were going to do anyways, that they do not let their fear inhibit them. So that's another thing to watch out for. I know that this one comes after number 37, that in this case, they are mentioning the answer to number 35 after number 37, and this is something that almost never happens. But in this case, they have done it, since everything about iconoclasts and fears seems to be tied into this one paragraph. So here's an exception to the rule, and for that reason, this answer, number 35, is going to be a no. Alright, now let's go ahead and tackle our final question, number 32. Right now, we're going to be looking for exposure to different events, about how exposure to different events forces the brain to think differently, so perhaps to think in a new way, in a novel way. Let's see if we can find that. So we should be able to find this before number 33. So 33 is here, so perhaps somewhere around here. So let's scan. Okay, so here we see something about seeing things differently. Okay, never encountered before, so new experiences. We talked about that. We even marked this keyword before. So stuff about novelty. And here it makes sense to highlight this keyword brain. Normally we would not highlight it, but right here it makes sense to highlight this keyword because this keyword is now appearing alongside these other keywords. So we're talking about thinking differently. So do you remember we found a synonym for thinking differently? Here it says see things differently. Okay, and we're talking about brain. So I think that we might find our answer somewhere around here. So what I'm going to do is I'll underline this part and we're going to go ahead and read it. Somewhere around there, perhaps. Let's go ahead and read it. The best way to see things differently to other people is to bombard the brain with things that it has never encountered before. Okay, so down here is saying that exposure to different events forces the brain to think differently. That if you expose the brain to new situations, to new circumstances, that the brain under these circumstances is going to start thinking differently. It's going to start seeing things in a different way. And that's exactly what it says over here. It says that the best way to see things differently or to think in a new way is to bombard the brain with new information, is to expose it to new information. See, to bombard the brain is synonym for exposure. It says expose the brain to new events, to different events. So exposure here is synonym for bombard the brain. Bombard the brain with new information, all of that. Things that it has never encountered before, okay? So, as expected, we found the answer to number 32 right here before number 33. I'm not going to mark it because we have reached the end of our question, so there's no point to do that. But I'll go ahead and write my answer here. The answer to this is yes. It's yes because the information agrees. The question sentence and the matching sentence match with each other. The information agrees with each other. Oh, I just realized, folks, that I forgot to go over number 36. So I thought that I already answered number 36, but I had not. So let's go ahead and do that now. So it says, when concern about embarrassment matters less, other fears become irrelevant. Okay, so it's saying that when you stop caring about being embarrassed, then you stop fearing other things as well, that other fears stop to bother you. Let's see if we can find that here. So we are looking for number 36. So the answer to number 36 has to come after the answer to number 34 and before 37. So you might remember that we found the answer to number 34 over here, where we talked about why most people avoid things that are new, things that are different. So we should be able to find our answer around here. And here it is talking about fear and iconoclasts. So it seems that our answer might be over here. So let's find out, when we stop worrying about embarrassment, then do other fears become irrelevant? Let's find out. So I want to start reading from over here, from this sentence, since that is where I feel that most of our keywords appear. So probably this sentence and then the next sentence, these two sentences right here. Here we go. Fear is a major impediment to thinking like an iconoclast and stops the average person in his tracks. Okay, says nothing about embarrassment here. There are many types of fear. I kind of want to run through this. Fear of uncertainty and fear of public ridicule. Okay, so fear of public ridicule, that is synonym for embarrassment. When you feel embarrassed, you feel ridiculed. Those are synonyms. So here it says that the two types of fears that inhibit iconoclastic thinking and people generally find difficult to deal with are fear of uncertainty and fear of public ridicule. And then it says these may be trivial phobias, and then it goes into public speaking. Guys, do you see any information here about other fears becoming irrelevant? I haven't found any keyword related to irrelevant. I have also not found any synonyms for this keyword. So I'm going to conclude that the answer to this question is not given. Not given for number 36. It simply does not say anything about this statement here. Great. So we are now finished with this question set. I know that some of these questions were tricky, and guys, the only way that you're going to get this down is by exposing yourself to a lot of different types of examples. So what I want you to do is, when you are working on answering the yes, no, not given question type, then I want you to answer several question sets for this same question type. I want you to see how these questions can change in their level of difficulty depending on which reading passage they appear in. This was reading passage number 3, so it was definitely some of the hardest questions that you can expect to see on the IELTS reading exam. So that's all for this one. In the next video, we're going to be going over the next question type. I'll see you there.